Hello, Record Hunter here. Cheers. Today I am drinking Chicago Lands Lager by Mars Brewery. Okay, well today I'm going to talk about basically the death of punk rock in Chicago in 1990 till 94. Um, so Last Rites used to do lots of shows. And they started off by playing punk shows. They started off doing shows in 1984, and they originally started off as a zine, and then they started doing shows at the Gummy Bear, at Medusa's, um, bigger ones at Cabaret Metro. They just Old Exit and little other places. And they were the main I guess production. I don't think this Poison Idea show was a Last Rites, but that Cro-Mag show I talked about on the last video was a Last Rites, and that was super violent show. And after that show, things calmed down for a little bit, but the crowds were getting bigger and bigger of it. Before you go to a show now, like a metal show or a punk show, like say Reggie's or something, you get 300 people, 400 people. It was like that in the 80s. You're getting 400, 500. You're getting bigger and bigger shows. It hasn't been. I guess it's like that now, but back then, I watched the shows just keep getting bigger and bigger from 150 people to 200 people to 300 people to 400 people, and this kept happening from 86 to 90. So the last show at the Cubby Bear and one of the last punk shows in Chicago for a long time was the Poison Idea show. And Poison Idea played with Sloppy Seconds from Indiana and Life Sentence, a local that always played. They played almost every show. That's why I questioned. It might have been a Last Rites show because they usually play Last Rites shows. And so Life Sentence goes on. Great. Sloppy Seconds goes on. I bought this record at the show. Destroyed. It has that knockoff Kiss Kiss Destroyer album cover. This is a pretty great record. I also picked up these singles. I picked up this single first. This Comeback Tracy. It's about Tracy Lords. I picked up this one I can't really talk about. Okay, and then I picked up this Where Eagles Dare was, and on the flip side is the Ice Cream Man. It's a cover of Sammy Davis Jr. Pretty funny, pretty good. But Where Eagles Dare had Bobby Steele from the Misfits playing guitar, and it's a Misfits cover. So, and I didn't buy any records from Poison Idea because they didn't have any for sale at that time. I don't even think they had shirts, but they had this order form. So I did pick up this order form. And, these were two of the biggest bands at the time. I mean big, in a big size. And people weren't really that big back then. The guitar player was pretty big, and the guitar player from Poison Idea, they used to call themselves the world's fattest junkies. And I don't know, they're bigger than me, and they're just jamming on the guitars. They're killer. So Sloppy Seconds comes on, they kicked ass, and then Poison Idea hits the stage, and the place is completely packed, and they start playing, and people start stage diving, the pit's going crazy. You have this star production. like, if it was Jam's production, they would have been able to handle it. They handled it wrong, but they would be able to handle it. They grabbing kids as they're diving, dragging them out, throwing them out on the street. Um, they didn't know what to do, and people were just stage diving everywhere. The Star Production's trying to grab them and throw them out, but they just couldn't control it, and they pulled the plug right in the middle of a song during Poison Idea, and they went out there and they talked to Jerry A and said, "Hey, you got to tell the crowd to stop stage diving, or the show's going to be over." And so Jerry A is like, "Well, anyway, everybody, we need you to chill out because we want to continue with the show. It took us a long time to get here. We came far away, and we can't continue the show if you keep stage diving." And so somebody yelled, "Sell out, sell out!" And he said, "Sell out," and they're like, "Sell out!" And Jerry is like, "Well, that's what they want you to do. Do whatever you want." Kaboom! They start playing. The whole place goes nuts, just like tons of body surfers, tons of stage divers. I don't know, like 20, 30 people all at a time. Boom! They get through a song, and then they get through a half of another song. They cut the show. They pull the band off the stage. They get the band off the stage, and they only played about 18 minutes, I'd say. And everybody's like, they want their money back. People were like booing, and the bouncers just started pushing people out the door, and there was just tons of people outside, and they're all like, we're gonna destroy this place. This is bullshit. This is just, it's like, let's just tear this place apart. And the next thing you know, somebody threw a brick through the window, the Cubby Bear, and then we turn around, and you just hear psh, psh, glass breaking. Trinidad's like, "Let's get out of here before the cops come." So we go down the street. We walk down to the Metro. We're just walking that way anyways. I said, "Hey, man, I want to at least, before we get out of here," he just wanted to get away from the area so we don't get arrested or beat up by cops. And we go up to the Metro, and I told the bouncer, like, what happened out there. And I said, "I really wanted to go to the show here. Can I at least come in and buy a shirt?" And he's like, "You know what, man, the show is like almost over, about a half hour left of the show. Yeah, just go on in. Just go ahead, it's cool." And so I got to see the Cramps anyway, so that worked out well for me. That was the Sunday, April 22nd. So we seen the Poison Idea was coming back around on Wednesday. That would be Wednesday. It was the April 25th. And they actually mailed that to me. That's how I found out. So, and we went to the show, and Poison Idea showed up, and the owner of the club or the people out there, they're like, "No way, absolutely not. You guys are not playing after what happened at the Cubby Bear." We're like, "That was on our control." Like, nope. Go away. So they just got in their car and they took off. But Sludgeworth still played, and Dead Steel Mill still played, and they were great. That was the second time I saw them. I saw them the first time at the Peace Fest the year before. And they're good, but like there's a lot of people, and I really didn't see them like up close and personal. And when I saw Dead Steel Mill, Corny, he's like a little guy. He comes out, and he was singing a song called Hook, and he had like a little fake pirate hand, but I didn't realize. I thought he had like a hook hand, and I was just like, "Oh, this guy has a hook hand," because he kept singing songs with this hook And I thought that was pretty interesting. Then I found out later it was just a pirate hand, or maybe it was a hook. But well, that's not the end of my video. I figure I'll show you a few records first. Poison Idea, Pick Your King. This is what I was introduced to from Poison Idea. Martin from Los Crudos, years before he was on Los Crudos, back in like 1987, 88, is he recorded me a tape with a bunch of stuff, and the Pick Your King EP was on there. And this, I bought this later when I found it also had the record collectors are pretentious assholes EP on the other side. That's from 1984. This is from 83, and this is called the Fatal Erection Years. This comp, and it's the 2 EPs plus you see that there, plus some like live stuff from 1983 and the stuff that was on compilations at the time. Pretty cool. Probably this is my favorite album, and not just because I heard it first. It's just jams. It's like, I don't know, like 18. I don't know how many songs are on that first EP. A lot. It was on a 7-inch. 13 songs in like 11 minutes, just brutal hardcore. And then the first full length album, the Pick Your King. This is great too. It's from 86. And then I have Field of Darkness. This is probably like their most popular album. It has Plastic Bomb on it. Just to Get Away. This is, I don't remember when this was from. This is a reissue from 2004, but it came out before that. I don't know, maybe late 80s. So, and I got this 7-inch. Came out on Record Store Day maybe 10, 15 years ago. It was Poison Idea on one side and Pantera on the B side, and they're both doing The Badge, and that's Poison Idea song, and Pantera's covering The Badge. And that was, I think that might have been on the Crow soundtrack. Well, that's well, maybe not. Maybe that ain't it. I don't want to make the video that short. Let me tell you what happened between 1990 and 94. So, after these two shows, there pretty much was no more like bigger shows, punk-wise. Even the thrash shows started phasing out, except for like these really huge like death metal shows were coming through, and they started becoming like packages. Like you get 4 bands, like I showed you the other day with Sick of It All. You know, they play with like 3 like death metal bands like Napalm Death and Obituary, and death metal was becoming really big, and thrash metal was it was evolving kind of into like death metal, and so that was going on. But punk, it was kind of like that was it. Like nobody wanted to book any more punk bands after that, and the whole thing went kind of underground. A lot of the locals broke up. I'm in a band Spare Change. We were around since '89, and we were like the new kids on the block or whatever when these bands were hitting their heights with these shows. You know, like Life Sentence and Lost Cause and Sludgeworth and Dead Steel Mill and Screeching Weasel and Bhopal Stiffs. And we were new guys. So, and then it just died. And like we didn't have any chance to play any of the clubs. We were starting to play some of these clubs. and it didn't happen. And went underground. And the bands who survived, there were bands that came out that just came and gone that were just there during the underground. Fly Food broke up. They were on since '86, but then they turned into Wretched Maggot during that time. Um, we'd go to those local shows. We played we started playing like garage parties and basements, and we had a studio. We had invite bands over. Not really a studio, it was just a practice spot. It was a crappy little practice spot. We paid like $110 a month, and we invite bands over to play. That's just kind of what we did for a couple years there until '94 when the Fireside opened, and because the pop punk was starting to become popular, Green Day was starting to become popular and kind of revived punk rock. But be, even though it's pop, but it got the ball rolling and all the punk bands reformed. But just during that time, it was like dark times. It was not just dark times for for punk rock, but it was dark times for me. Like a lot of bad things happened during that time. Like my parents separated and lost everything, and I was basically like almost homeless, trying to take care of my family. Being my dad was gone. I had to go get a job. No more going to shows. Not barely. Go to a show once in a while. Working like 60, 80 hours a week at a minimum wage job for $3 an hour, trying to pay electric and gas and rent. For my mom and brother and sister, it's just like that was the tough times during that time, and had to live in bad neighborhoods to have low rent, and got jumped. It was beat up by gangs, and it was just bad. Beat up by cops. It was just a bad time during that whole '90s, and fortunately I got out of it, and punk and started becoming big again, and my band started playing, and we do okay for ourselves. I wish we would have made it bigger than we did, but we tried, and I still get some good shows, and I'm glad I get to open up for the people. Like we're open up for legal abortions and negative approach and DRI and dead Kennedys, and I'm glad that I have that to the people I idolized the most when I was growing up, that I could, I could do that. Glad I could do that. Well, that's it for the Record Hunter for this show. Please like and subscribe. Catch you when the hunt is on. Cheers.